The Crow is about two people who get killed at the very beginning of the movie. The Crow comes to take their souls to the land of the dead. The Crow decides to actually resurrect one of them to get revenge for himself and his love interest. Hey everybody, how you doing out there? So I'm going through the Crow franchise before we get the remake that's supposed to be coming out August 23rd. So The Crow here, 1994. First thing I gotta say, happy 30th anniversary to this movie. Now, I missed this movie when it was at the theaters, but I did rent it at the video store a couple times, and I really liked this movie. I thought everything about this movie was great. I was like maybe 13 years old when this film came out, and I just loved all the action scenes. I loved everything about this movie. Now, I will be honest, my thoughts have changed slightly. I don't think it's a perfect movie like maybe other people might think it is. But if you do stay for the dislikes, hopefully you'll actually understand, or at least I try to convince you enough why I'm not a big fan of what we actually get out of this. Starting off with the likes, the first thing I gotta say is the way that this film starts off, it shows two people already dead, and thinking, okay, that might just be two random people. Oh, no. It's actually our hero, Eric Draven, Brandon Lee's character, and his fiancée, Shelley Webster. I cannot remember the actress's name. But with her, she's actually in the apartment. Bunch of cops are already there. She's laying on the floor there. And they show Ernie Hudson by a broken window. Well, that's actually how Brandon Lee's character, he gets thrown out of this window and he lands on the sidewalk or the street, and that's where he actually dies. I have to give kudos and credit if it was the script or whoever's idea it was to say, let's start off with the hero already dead. I did actually like that there. Going with Brandon Lee, he was so great in this role here. I mean, he actually acted his ass off on everything that he needed to do, and he did such a fantastic job. He has so many different emotions that he has to go through in this whole, hour and 41-minute movie, and he does every one perfectly. It is not like he doesn't drop the ball with one emotion or the other. The whole thing with pretty much him being like a ghost, I mean, of course, he's wearing all black clothes and a jacket and the white face. All of that stuff worked so well. Just to actually, this was the way to actually scare the villains and the four people that he needed to go actually after there. And I really did enjoy that there. He even has a curse. He may have been able to be resurrected by this crow instead of his soul being taken to the land of the dead. But, so he comes back, and this whole curse is pretty much if he touches someone, or maybe even if someone actually touches him, he can actually see through their eyes what exactly happened in certain moments. I mean, I don't know if I'll call this a spoiler, but he does do it to Ernie Hudson at one point here to see what happened between him and him trying to help out Eric's fiance. And I'm not going to go into too much details, even for a movie that is 30 years old, but I really did enjoy that scene. But sometimes he doesn't actually even have to touch anybody, and it just kind of flashes back of all the stuff that happened to him and happened to his fiance. It could have been worse, but for like 1994, I feel like that they showed you just enough to say, well, this is what happened, and this is what this villain did, and what this villain did through narrative, and even through dialogue on certain things of, hey, this is what we were really trying to do, and here was our reasons behind it, and just things kind of went out of whack. It's just like, oh yeah, like we're supposed to feel sorry for you. But it's just kind of crazy where it's like, you come back, but you have this curse on you where, yeah, unfortunately, you're going to have that flashback constantly about your fiance and what happened to you. It's something that, he definitely doesn't want. But unfortunately, that's kind of like, I guess you can call it kind of his weakness. Forgive me, I've never read the comic books on this, just what I actually get out of the movie. Ernie Hudson, he is always a good character. He plays a police officer in this movie here, but no matter what role this guy takes, he always does a great, wonderful job, and he's just always someone that always gives 110%. I don't think I've ever seen him in a role where he just feels like he's dropped the ball. We got our villain, Michael Wincott. He does a good job. He's another one like Ernie Hudson that I feel like that I've never seen him drop the ball. He's another actor that comes in. He does 110% here. He's a great villain. He's one of these characters. He could be cold, calm, and collect, but at the same time, he could just be out of his freaking mind in certain scenes there too. I like the henchmen that we actually get in here. I'll say this, there's such a balance of them where I do like them because I think their acting is good, but they are scumbags and you kind of can't wait for them to actually get their just desserts from the Crow and how they're actually going to get their just desserts. And I actually did enjoy a lot of the kills in here. I thought they were actually really good. They were really amazing. There's a lot of action scenes in here. I actually laughed a lot in this movie. I don't know if I was supposed to laugh as much as I did or not here. I love the story. I love the script. There was a lot of great dialogue. Directed very well. I just really had such a fun time with this movie. And moving on to the dislikes, I don't have too much to talk about here, but the first one might be more of a gripe than a dislike, but enough that it had to be said in this here, is the actor Tony Todd, the guy who was in the Candyman trilogy, Wishmaster, and he's been in a lot of other movies. Okay, so he's a great actor. He does a decently good job for what he needs to do in this movie, but my biggest problem is he hardly has much to actually do. It feels like Tony Todd was wasted in this movie here. He's the right-hand man to the villain. There might be two scenes, I would say, that were very clever or smart with his character. Something that, maybe other right-hand men in movies would be more dumb to it, where his character isn't, so I give him credit on that. But it felt like he needed to be in it a little bit more than what we actually got, and have him to do more stuff than just almost more like standing around or being the driver. The other dislike is Act 3 in the church, the good versus evil here. Now, my big thing with this, ever since the first time I ever watched this movie, and maybe because at the time I had this, maybe I recently watched the other movie like this here, and they just kind of combined almost the same way, as Batman 1989. Pretty much, Batman versus the Joker ends up in a church. And then this one was pretty much the same thing. And I understand movies will rip each other off to a point there. But this one almost felt at least 95%. Because, you switch characters around a little bit. Where in Batman 89, you have Batman taking on a big muscular black guy. In The Crow, it's actually like a medium-sized Asian woman. You got Jack Nicholson as the Joker. You got Michael Wincott. Maybe he's no Jack Nicholson, but he could be as crazy as the Joker. The Crow, I'm going to go 3.5 out of 4 stars. Love this movie. This is a great movie. What do you think about this movie? I'm sure you have seen this movie. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you actually dislike it? Give me a comment down below. We shall discuss it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.